Hello, I just want to talk a little bit about demand and supply. First of all, demand is what you are willing and able to buy at all possible prices. So the demand is shown by this entire curve. All the possible prices and how much you want to buy and how much you're willing and able to buy given those prices. So demand is the entire curve. Quantity demanded is a point on this curve. So if I told you the price is right here, quantity demanded would be the quantity that correspond to that price. Okay, now we want to talk a little bit about the things, the factors that shift demand. There are 5, and I have written them down here. It's income, price of related goods, taste and preferences, expectations about future prices of the good itself, and the number of buyers. If we start with income first, it turns out that income actually has 2 subcategories. So the question is, are you thinking about a normal good or an inferior good? A normal good is a good that you want to buy more of if your income increases. Most goods are like that. An inferior good is a good that you actually want to buy less of if your income increased. Now, what would happen is that if you had a normal good and your income increased, then demand curve would shift outwards like this. That is, if you have more income, you want to buy more of it no matter what the price is. You just want to buy more of it because you have a higher income. If the good was inferior, then your demand curve will shift to the left, or you will have a decrease in demand. And that says that for whatever the price is, you just want to buy fewer quantities when your income increases. That seems a little strange, but there are some goods for which that is the case. The classic example is ramen noodles. You might be eating that in college, but once you get a real salary or income, you're probably going to stop eating it, or at least eat less of it. All right, so that's the income. 2 cases. You just have to figure out what type of good do you have. When you think about prices of related goods, there's also 2 cases. Because goods can either be related in terms of being substitutes, or they can be complements. A substitute is a good that you can use instead of the good that you were looking at. So Pepsi and Coke are substitutes because you can drink Coke instead of Pepsi. Complements are 2 goods that are used together, peanut butter and jelly. So if you have peanut butter, you want to have some jelly too. They are used together. Obviously, if the price of one of these goods increases or decreases, then the other good will be affected in terms of its demand. So to do an example here, if you had a substitute good, so price of Pepsi, for example, increased, while what happens to the demand for Coke then? Well, if the price of Pepsi decreases, then you want to buy more Pepsi because it's cheaper. But if you buy a lot more Pepsi, then you don't want to buy as many units of Coca-Cola. So we would expect the demand to decrease. At the same time, if the price of a complement were to decrease, say the price of jelly decreases, then you want to buy more jelly. But if you have a lot of jelly, you need something else too, so you're going to buy more peanut butter. So if this was the market for peanut butter, your demand for peanut butter would increase. Alright, so that's the substitutes and the complements and how that affects your demand for various products. I'll erase this a little bit. And then we have taste and preferences. This is straightforward. If you like something more, your demand for that good will increase. So if you like something more, you have a higher preference for it, we expect demand to shift outwards like this. Expectations. A little bit trickier, but you can do it. If you expect the price to fall in the future, so you think the good is going to be cheaper, say next week, what will you do? Well, chances are you will not buy it today. So therefore we expect your demand to actually decrease, move to the left. Now these first four is all factors that affect both individual demand and market demand. But the number of buyers is something that affects market demand. So if you just had more buyers in the entire market, we would expect demand to increase. Okay, that's probably pretty straightforward. The trick when thinking about these is to first remember these 5 things and then be able to think through it. And I think you can do that very well. Remember that there's 2 things that do not affect demand. Instead, that affects quantity demanded. So the 2 things is, first of all, the price of the good. If the price of the good increases, so if we move upwards on this axis, you can see that you're not actually shifting the demand curve. What you will be doing is moving along the demand curve. And movement along the demand curve is a change in quantity demanded. Change in quantity demanded. Of course, we could ask ourselves, why is the price increasing? Well, probably because there was a decrease in supply. So that's why I put supply in parentheses there. If you have a decrease in supply, price will go up and you will be moving along the demand curve. All right, that's good for demand right now. Let's think of supply a little bit. Okay, so now we have supply. Supply, there are 4 things that affect supply: technology, price of inputs, expectations, and number of sellers. You notice that in this list there is not the price of the good itself or demand. Price of the good and demand do not affect supply at all. They affect quantity supplied. Alright, so the idea is that anything that would reduce the cost of production, which is technology or price of inputs, that's going to increase your supply curve. So that's going to shift the supply curve outwards like this. Alright, so if technology improves, supply shifts to the right. If the price of an input like labor or machines or whatever it is that you use to produce the good, if that price goes down, supply will shift to the right. Of course, if technology were to become worse, which doesn't make much sense, or if the price of inputs increase, which does make sense, then the supply curve will shift to the left in this direction over here. Expectation is if you have expectations about the price of the good in the future, then your your supply will be changing. For example, if you think that the price of this good is going to be lower in the future, you might want to sell it today to take advantage of the relatively higher price. Or if you think the price is going to go up in the future, why don't you hold back a little bit today and sell more in the future, so your supply would go down today. If you think about the entire market, then the number of sellers will affect supply as well. So if you have more sellers, the supply curve is going to increase. You're going to shift it out in this direction. Okay, again, there are 2 things that does not affect the supply, and that is the price of the good and the demand. Those affect quantity supplied. And you notice here that if, for example, the price were to increase, then we would be moving up the supply curve, which means that the quantity supplied, as prices increase, the quantity supplied would increase with it. So again, the supply curve stays exactly at the same place. It didn't change at all, but the quantity supplied increased. And then we can ask ourselves, why did the price increase? Well, probably because there was an increase in demand. So demand, at least indirectly, would affect quantity supplied. But again, it does not affect the supply curve. It's always the same. All right, there you have it. A short, brief discussion about demand and supply. Thank you.